Hello everyone, this is Mr. Nuts and today we'll be continuing our beginner friendly Road to OSCP video series. Today we'll be looking at another hack the box machine, that is CronOs. CronOs is based on Linux and the difficulty is set as medium. So let's just get started. So first thing what I always do is I run an auto recon scan, and if you guys don't know what auto recon is like an enumerating tool. It's going to run few nmap scans first, and it's going to find open ports and services, and based on those open ports and services it's going to do additional scans on them, and it will give us some enumeration results. So 95% of the time it gives us like complete results, but some other time you have to actually enumerate things manually and find out information over there. So don't always rely on it. You should, obviously it's good to have tool, but don't always rely on it. Okay, so auto recon is present over here and it's in this particular folder for me in my system. So I'll be running the scan as sudo because I want to run it as root. So that's why I'll be running it as sudo, because the UDP scan would not work otherwise it would not run. And then I'll be giving Python 3 over here so that I can run this autorecon file, and I'll be giving the target IP address, that is 10.10.10.13 in the case of CronOS. And also I'll be giving the O switch, the output directory where I want to save the particular scan results. So I already did execute the scan because it takes some time, so I don't want to execute it again. So let's just look at the scan result. So if we see the full TCP nmap scan, we have like three ports open. That is port 22, that is SSH. Then there is port 53, that is domain, that is your DNS server, and port 80, sorry, that is your HTTP. So obviously first thing what I always do is I just see an HTTP web page. So I'll just go and check out that because it's more likely to have some web attack into remote code execution or something. So we have this Apache Ubuntu default page over here, and does not show anything much, and there are like few ads and everything which are present, but I tried enumerating things over there as well, the ads, but I don't think it was anything. If you click on the ads, it actually belongs to some different domain, okay, creative market domain. So please do not go and try to scan things or enumerate things over here because this is entirely a different domain. So please do not go over there. Just yeah. So we just be over here, and if we see that, if we even check the page source, we do not get anything useful. We see multiple references like to external website like this cardboard cardboard ads, something like that, carbon ads. Okay, so nothing much over here, you cannot find anything useful. So obviously what I do is, next step, I run a GoBuster scan. So first we'll just locate the common txt file, because I always run the common txt first, then I run the medium txt. So common is around 4,000 words, like, and medium is around like 2 lakhs plus or something. So it's quite short. So I'll just run GoBuster scan. So I'll be running GoBuster. If you guys don't know what common, what this GoBuster is, so just check out. Oops, cat. Okay, so I will be using this entire common txt word list. So what this basically will do is, it has like multiple directory names present over, like ww1 to ww board. So what it will do is, we'll check it against this particular URL. So what it will do, it will be like, hey, www1 exists. It will ask the server. Server will respond, no, it does not exist. And it will check for ww1 is present. It will be like, hey, you know what, ww1 is present. Server will respond. So I'll check for ww3, like, yay, it is present, but you're not authorized to use it, so you cannot use it. Okay, so server is gonna respond like that, and it's gonna check out like around 4,000 words over here. Obviously, I'm just entering the number, so it's gonna check out for 4,000 words, whatever is present in this common txt. Okay, and based on that, GoBuster will analyze and it will be like, do you have access or not? Okay, so it's just making things easier. So GoBuster, you do dir, and then later on after that, after doing dir, you are going to give the uswitch, because this is dir is for directory search, uswitch http, and be giving the IP address, that is 10.10.13, and also I'll be giving the word list, that is this common txt, which we located first, and then later on copy pasted. Okay, then I'll be giving the extension switch as well, that is txt, php, py, pl, sh, cgi, just in case. So all this switch I'll be giving, and then I'll be even giving the O switch output, and I'll probably just name it as GoBuster common extension 80, something like that. Okay, just save it. So if you run the scan, obviously it will run and it will take quite some time. So I just highly recommend giving the extension switches, okay, because it's always useful to give this and you get more information in the comment txt. So my bad, I think. Okay, so this is how we'll run the scan, and after running the scan, obviously the scan takes quite some time, so I don't want to run it again. So let's just go and check out the result. Like I already did execute the scan. So if we see we do not have anything useful over here, we just get this index HTML and server status. So let's just check that, and most likely it's going to be this default web page over here. It's the same web page over here, nothing useful. Sorry, we have server status. Obviously we have 403 permission there, that means it is not accessible. Okay, so we have 403, we have this, we do not get anything. You guys can go and check out the medium scan result as well, but there's nothing much you can find over there. So obviously we enumerated this, we can enumerate this. So like try to brute force SSH, which is, you know, it should be the last case scenario when there is nothing to find. So we have checked 80, port 80. We now will check for port 53. Okay, like domain is present, DNS is present over here. Okay, so if you guys don't know what domain name server is, you guys can probably go and check out on Google as well. But in short, what the domain name server will have, it's like in general, we have a domain name server, like, you know, a host file present in our system itself. So etc host in Linux, and in Windows also there is a host file present. So it's under system something, some directory. Okay. So we have the host file over here, etc host, and what this host file will have is, it will have a, you know, like an address, like basically. So I'll be like, first I'll be just put the IP address at 10.10.10.10, just consider 10 this, and I'll be having my websites. Okay, so mutated nuts, blog.com, something like that. It does not exist obviously, I'm just trying to show you all. So etc host will have some entry like this. Okay, so now what we'll do is, basically if we enter mutatedblog.com, mutated nuts blog.com. So first thing, what does Kali machine will do is, it will go to your etc host file. Obviously, if I hit enter, but obviously this thing does not exist, so there'll be nothing coming up. So first thing, if you see the connection, first it will go to your etc host file, and it will check for domain. Is there any domain as mutatednutsblog.com? etc host file will be like, yes, this domain is present, and the IP address for this is this particular thing. So then what this will do is, there'll be another server, right, where my actual web page is hosted, that is 10.10.10.10. Obviously this is an internal IP address, but I'm just showing you all for to make things easier to understand. Okay, so now what this will do is be like, okay, you found that particular, you know, it will Kali machine, the browser will ask like, where should I go? An etc host file, it will check over there, it will be like, hey, mutated nuts is present over here, and the IP address for this is this 10.10. So now you redirect over here. Okay, so something like that. So obviously I can change the IP address. Suppose if my IP address has been changed, so I'll just probably enter. Okay, so I'll just probably enter like 10.10.10.11, and it will probably come over here. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Like, not over here, sorry, it will not go over here, but it will go to the 11 IP address. So in short, this is like a, you know, of your phone number, and this is the contact name what you have saved. So obviously, why is there a domain name present? Is because I'm sure many of you guys may already be aware, but DNS is present for a reason, because it is easier to remember mutatednuts.blog.com, but it is difficult to remember this particular IP address. So obviously 10.10.10. is easy, but what if that there was some IP address like, you know, probably 173, 168, 190, 191, and 222, something like that. So it's difficult to remember this, right? And it's easier to remember this. So that's why domain name exists, and a DNS server would somewhat look like this. Okay, it will have entries. It will be like, what's the domain name and the IP address over here. So it will have something like this: mutated nuts blog, channel, admin. These all are dummy sites, okay? Dummy domains and dummy IP address. I've just entered internal IP address over here. So domain name will be found. So now if I enter probably mutatednutschannel.com, okay? So if I enter something in the browser, channel.com. So now it's not present in my etc host, right? So let's just remove this previous entries. So now I came across over here with a new request, that is I need to have this mutatednuts channel.com. So it will come over here, it will be like, hey, host file, is this present? So host file will be like, no, it's not present. So obviously that's not the end of story. Then it will go to my, ISP's DNS server, ISP DNS server. Okay, so it will go to my ISP's DNS server and it will be like, okay, hey ISP DNS server, that is this, okay, this entry over here. Just for example, just consider it this way. So it'll check over here, it'll be like, hey, is mutednudgechannel.com present? If yes, then please give me its IP address. So it's like as good as, does this contact exist? If yes, give me the contact number, because I want to contact that person. So it'll be like, okay, this IP address is present and it is actually 10.10.10.12. Okay, so then further it will go over there to this particular 10.10.10.12 this IP address. Okay, so that's how it's gonna work. DNS is gonna route things to you. Okay, so in short, I just want to show you like brief understanding on DNS because that's how you're going to be understanding this particular thing. So if I do NS lookup, so if we can just check for the DNS name. Okay, so if I do NS lookup, if I do the domain name, I want to search the domain name. Okay, so because we are doing a reverse lookup now. So if I do an NS lookup, so we'll be using 10.10.13, because see, we can either check this to this, okay, like your domain name to your IP address, or a reverse lookup, that is if you'll give the IP address and you have to find the domain name. Okay, so you can do either both. Like, okay, what if I have the phone number but I want to know who does it belong to? Okay, so we'll be looking at a reverse lookup thing. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just do NS lookup and just press enter, because we'll give the target IP address over here. So it says server can't find something like that, NX domain, nothing useful. So what we'll do is, because why it's happening is because our etc host file does not have this particular entry present. And if you want to check, you can probably just do cat etc host. We do not have any entry over here which says like 10.10.13. Okay, so it will check that. Obviously, it will check with my ISP that this particular thing is present or no, something like that. Okay, it is not present. Now what we'll do is we'll use NS lookup again, but we'll just open this tool like, okay, so it will give us a new line over here. So what we'll do is we'll do okay, now again we'll enter that particular IP address, but it does not work obviously. It's the same error. So what we'll do is we'll assign a domain name server. So in by default, first it's gonna check our etc host, right? It is gonna check etc host, then it does not find anything. It's gonna go to our ISP's DNS server, like your internet service provider, whoever you'll have. It will check for that DNS server. So it will check like, okay, over here also is not present, because obviously it's an internal IP, right? This thing. So what we can do is, since DNS is already running over here, we can assign our DNS server instead of this etc host, or instead of this ISP's DNS, we can assign it to this particular IP address to see if we get something. So if we do server, so now what this will do is our default DNS server is this particular thing. Now if we enter the IP address, that is this, that means in short we are doing an NS lookup on this IP address now. But first we set the server, DNS server, to this. So now if we do this, obviously it's going to ask this particular DNS server, that is the target machine's DNS server. So if we press enter, it says like name NS1 CronOs HTTP. So obviously we have something. Well, let's just take that. Why I'm focusing, obviously it's very easy to guess, like take the CronOs and add it somewhere like to your host file. But obviously I don't think in the exam we'll be having the host name, right? So we will not be having this CronOs or something like we get in HackTheBox. So we got this name over here, take it, and obviously we have it pasted over here. Okay, so then we have this particular thing, right? So we have CronOs HTTP NS1. What we'll do is, first thing, we'll exit for now and we'll go to our etc host file. So we'll try to modify it. So we'll be giving sudo because the host file, it should be modified as root. So etc host, I'll be giving nano over here just to get this nano editor, and I'll be adding the entry over here, that is 10.10.10. And that is 13. and we'll be adding, I think just paste it, okay, ns1 chronos htb. Just take it and file name to write, okay, press enter, I press Ctrl O first, so that I can save it, and then press enter, then press Ctrl X so that it closes. Okay, so we have this thing saved, and now if we do cat etc host, so we will have ns1 chronos htb over here. So we have this particular IP address, we have this thing set. Now I'll just show you all. If we do ns1 cron os htb, so this is the same default login page over here, but the thing is we just gave the domain name, and it actually went to our host file, and it was like, hey, this domain name actually has this particular host file, so go over here. So I went over, like, the actually browser and the system redirected over there, and we got this particular web page in short. Okay, so now what will happen is we have this ns1 chronos htb. Now we have a domain server, that is DNS server is this. Now this DNS server will have multiple entries, for example, like these things, okay, present over here. It will have multiple entries. So what we'll do is we'll try and copy those entries. Okay, so in general, there are not one but many DNS servers. If you consider, okay, so if we have, there'll be multiple DNS server, ISP, DNS1 server, and then there'll be another additional DNS servers, okay, DNS2 server, something like that. So what will happen is this DNS1 server, okay, does not have any entries. It's like blank. But always I'm querying this particular DNS server first, and DNS1 is like, I do not have that information. So you better go to DNS2, something like that. Okay, so that's how networking as well works. Okay, so it will be like go to DNS2, or it will tell you to go to DNS2 like directly, or first you send a request, and it will be like, I do not have this thing present, but maybe DNS2 server may have it. Then it will tell you like, okay, oh, I can do this for you. So ISP DNS1 server will go to DNS2, and it will be like, hey, you know what, is this entry present? DNS2 will be like, yes, this entry is present in my database, and this is the address or whatever information, and it will send it back, and this guy will send it back to him, something like that. Okay, so I know it looks a bit complicated, but if you guys can go and check how DNS works and how it queries and all, so that would be great. Okay, so now we have this two DNS server. This DNS server has around like 10 entries, and this DNS server has no entries. So what we can do is we can do a zone transfer. So whatever entries are present over here, we can try and copy it over here. Okay, so if we see, there are multiple entries present. In short, there'll be like entry 1, 2, 3, 4. Just consider this particular entry, okay? Just consider this 4 lines. And what will take this entry over here and we'll try to copy paste. Because we also should, we want to get updated. We're like, hey, if Kali will come to us, I'll directly send him to this IP address or something like that. I do not want to query it again. So I'll just try to copy the entries which are present. Okay, like how you take a new phone, right? You copy the contacts from your previous phone to your new phone because you'll be using a new phone more. Okay, so something similar to that. Okay, so now we'll do a zone transfer, and if you want to check out the commands for that, I think DNS zone transfer, you can check out the Secunetics web page. And we have to use this dig axfr command over here. Okay, so we will like zone from the primary. It says that we can initiate an axfr request to get a copy of the zone from the primary server. So what we'll do is we'll use that axfr, and then later on we'll be giving the domain name which we found. So probably just enter ns1 cron OS HTTP, and then we'll be giving, so this is actually the IP address, like the target IP address where it is present. So over here obviously there's a name given, but we'll be giving the IP address over here, that is target 10.13. Okay, so it says like something global command plus CMD transfer failed NS1. Now what's the reason is, obviously if this thing happens, so we can probably just remove this NS1 because probably this NS1 can be a subdomain of this cron OS HTTP. Okay, so let's just remove that. keep CronOS itself and just do enter. And if we see that we get multiple subdomains over here under CronOS, we get multiple subdomains, that is this 3 subdomains. Okay, so let's just take and copy it. Okay, we have this. We get these 4 domains over here: CronOS, admin, CronOS, HTTP, NS1, www, CronOS, HTTP. So what we'll do is, first thing, we'll open our, okay, we'll open this again. In order to add multiple entries, just press space, admin, CronOS, HTTP. Then we have CronOS, HTTP, the default one, and also we have www.cronos.htb. So we have these 4 entries present which we found over here. That thing is behind actually, but over here we have copy pasted. We have these 4 entry present, so we can eventually go and paste it over here. Just remember to enter space, don't enter comma or something like that. Just enter spaces. Press Ctrl O for saving it, like file name, right? Yes. Press enter and press Ctrl X again so to exit. So we have these domains only, and obviously this is the main domain and these are the subdomains. So we have multiple information. So we get, what we can do is just go here, we have ns1 HTTP, right? We can enter www.cronos HTTP. We come across this web page, we do news, and we go to some different out of domain. Please do not test this. This is out of domain, like does not belong to HackTheBox or something. It's other domain. And then documentation, again Laravel, something like that, and news, again it sends out over here. You can probably go and try to use that comment txt, sorry, your comment txt duo buster scans over here on this website, okay, not on the Laravel, on this particular domain. But I don't think you can find anything, because I do not find anything over here. So we can go to another one, that is CronOS HTTP. So this is the one, www, and this is the same one. Then we have another one, that is admin CronOS HTTP. Okay, so admin CronOS HTTP, it says that we have a login page over here and obviously some advertisement. We do page source, we do not get anything interesting over here except for this ad web page. So we can do is another thing, run a GoBuster scan as we did it earlier, right? But now instead of doing the GoBuster scan completely, what we'll do is we'll have instead of the IP address, we'll have admin.cronos HTTP over here, and then later on just mention GoBuster admin, something like that. Okay, so just run the scan, but I did already run the scan as well because it takes some time. And if you see, we get few information over here. We get to index PHP page. Obviously that's going to be the same login page most likely. So let's just check it out. It's the same web page. Okay, so nothing useful over here. Config PHP, it's some, I don't know, it's a blank page. We do not get anything over here for some reason. Okay, so logout, there's a logout, so probably there's, obviously there's a login, so there's logout. And session PHP and welcome PHP, let's just check that. If we come across this login page, we'll check for welcome PHP, because we got a 302 redirect, so it's redirecting us to this index PHP. So probably we have to enter something over here like admin and admin. Okay, we'll submit it. It says nothing. But now just one thing to mention is, like previously we have done boxes, and there was some web application like this Laravel or something which we found, right? So that is an actual web application created by somebody. Obviously this also is created by somebody, but this is like a custom made web application. It has a custom username, password over here. Okay, so what we'll do is, obviously we can try and check for SQL injection over here. Obviously first thing I always do is I just enter this thing to see if we get any error message or anything. So first we'll just try and route this traffic to burp suite. So we'll just press XY, manual proxy. This thing should be this localhost IP address and your port number, that is this. Okay, we'll start a burp suite. Okay, so I've already changed updated my system, and I had, just off topic, I had some issue with SMB map. It was not running well. I had to install additional things after the update, like I have to reinstall the requirements and everything. and then it started working, and we have version 2024. So I really recommend to stay up to date with Kali machines as well. But I know there are a few Python exploits which don't work, but I think they'll work now because we have that pip Python 2 okay, so let's just get back, and we have this HTTP web sockets and everything over here. So let's just go and turn this off. I don't want to intercept anything, I just want to see the traffic over here, and obviously we'll just check the proxy is listening on port this 127.0.0.1 and port 8080. Okay, so we have the same thing which was present over here. Okay, great. So we have the login page, so let's just reload it, resend obviously, and we go to HTTP history. We have obviously this carbon add web page where we're not interested in that. So we have this admin cron os HTTP. We have this web page, it says username this and password, something like that. Okay, so what we can do is, in order to check for SQL or try to have an SQL by, okay, let's just check what do we get if we do submit. We do not get, obviously we do not get anything, so probably there can be blind SQL or something like that. So what we'll do is, first we'll just go and check for SQL injection cheat sheet. Okay, and there are few cheat sheets from here, and I think the one which I first, okay, you can do injection bypass bypass list. Okay, payload all the things. Okay, so we have the SQL one over here and payload all the things, and we can check out SQL injections over here. Like we can add different payloads and check out, like, is there something present. We can enter a few wildcards over here, whichever is present, and to check, or we can just go directly, because since we are in a login page over here, okay, so we can just go directly. We can go to authentication bypass. Okay, before that, let's just check this out and see what do we get over here. Detection of SQL injection over here. So let's just copy it. We'll be using this particular thing now, that is what you say. We'll just add admin and admin, and let's just submit. So we'll be getting the latest one over here. So I'll be taking this request on inburp, sending it to repeater. Okay, so now what we'll do is, okay, sorry, not repeater, I want to send it to intruder. So just send it to intruder. Okay, so intruder, if you guys don't know what it is, it's basically, you can, in how we did directory for fuzzing over here, right, and go buster. So we can do, like, few things fuzzing over here. So I'll just show you all in short what it will do. So if you see position, we can have this thing as sniper, and these green things are the payload entry points. So we do not require all these. Let's just remove everything, and let's just add username. Let's delete that and add these two entries over here. If you enter one, then it will take the entire green string over here. So just enter these two things. So in short, what it will do is, whatever is present in the list over here, right, in payload, all the things. So whatever is present over here, one by one, it will add entry over here and it will check. Okay, so obviously target is this, the port is this, and we can just paste in the payload which we copied earlier. I copied a payload, right? So let's just paste it, and we have this thing set. We have to paste it in this payload option, and we just paste it over here. Position, this thing is okay. Let's just start attack. It says some error because you're not using the, does not show error, but somewhat like others, like it will take some time to execute, and let's just see what we get. So all our payloads are running over here. I'll just look at the request. So as I mentioned earlier, right, between these two parameters, there'll be like this 27 coming, okay, this %27, which we saw it over here. And if you look at the intruder attack, we did not find anything useful, obviously, because it does not display any errors if we enter this blank things. So that does not always mean that SQL is not possible. Okay, so obviously we have a login page. You can go and enumerate other web page like that CronOs web page or something, or we can just check for SQL authentication bypass. Okay, so it's present over here below, authentication bypass. Copy it. It's a huge list actually, and there are, this is union select also for some reason. We can take this, consider. Okay, so there are multiple things over here, and especially admin. There are multiple users, like obviously, like admin users mentioned. Why? Because obviously there are in all web pages there is an admin account, right? Most likely. So that's why admin would work, or you can probably try it with some other user as well. So let's just try with this particular entries. I guess we don't require the below ones because it save time. You can go and try it out. So let's just copy it, and we'll be pasting it over here. Okay, so let's just remove everything first. Actually, remove. Clear. Okay, sorry. Clear. Paste it. Okay, so we have all the entries present over here. So obviously, same one entry. It will check this entire entry. It will add over here between this username, and this username replicates this particular web page over here. So SQL injections happen over here itself, like on the username or password, any search field, in fact. Okay, so search field or wherever you have an URL, you'll have some equal to or something like that, some entry. Okay, so let's just start our attack again. Okay, my bad. I'm just adding up entries. Start attack. So again, we get status 200, but we do not get anything useful, right? So the length also is same, and if we check over here, this particular length is different over here, right? So another status also is different. It says 302. That means it's redirecting us somewhere. So that's interesting. So what we'll do is we'll just try to sort it with 302. Probably this is 200, right? And it says the same error. If you look at the response over here, so when the scanner is on, obviously you can go and check so things, but you do not get anything useful over here. But we get a different length present. So we can try this particular exploit and see in our web page if we get something. Let's just wait for it to complete, and let's just take this particular thing, the payload which we are getting, the 302 error. Sorry, not error, but redirect. So let's just okay, let's just wait for it to finish, and then we can probably check. So we have something over here as well. So we have another entry. We have another entry over here, which says 302, 302. So it says another entry. So we have multiple entries with 302. So probably it looks like this thing is gonna be the one which is like giving us redirect to some other web page. So let's just go over here and let's just try this admin and the hash. Okay, so we can try this. And if we see the attack, so there are multiple entries over here, and there are a few more things pending. Let's just complete. Okay, let's just do that, and we can probably enter password over here. I just entered something, password, something. It's not the actual password, obviously. That's why we are doing SQL injection, right? So if we do submit, we actually come across to a different web page that is welcome PHP. Okay, so I think it redirected us over here. So in short, we were successfully able to do SQL injection. Let's just go back for now. I know that payload works. So in short, all these 302 errors, like whichever we get, that is SQL injectable. So in short, what this payload would do is, I'll just explain you all quickly. So SQL injection, if you guys, well, like your SQL query is somewhat written like select all from users where user name is equals to whatever entry you add. Suppose consider actual original username is admin. Okay, so we'll be having admin and also and password is equals to, you can just have small caps, username password is equals to secret admin account, just random password I'm giving, okay, it does not make sense. So just consider admin is the actual user and secret admin account is the actual user, okay. So let's just take this and paste it down because we do not require this in our statement. So SQL injection happens because our query is written in such a way. So whenever you enter a username, okay, so this particular thing, if I enter admin over here, okay, this admin is gonna go to the SQL query in this way, okay. And password, if you enter some password over here, like suppose not the right password, something like that, okay. So I like not the right password. So we enter this. So in short, it's gonna come to this SQL database, like the query, like in the back end, obviously that file is gonna make this query and send it to the database, right? And once it checks that admin is present and password is not the right password, obviously, and actual password is secret admin, right? So it's not going to give you access. So if I do this and I submit, it does not give me access. Now what we are doing is on all these 302 attack, but I'm just taking one just to make things simpler. So what it is doing, we are entering a username admin, we are entering a password as well. Okay, we are entering some password as well, that is probably just the same, not the right username. But in username admin, we are not only adding admin, okay, we are adding multiple things over, that is your commenting out part. Okay, so what we are doing is we are adding admin single quotes and the hash over here. So what the hash would do is admin and this. So now if we see, we have an additional quote over here, right? So that means it will error out or something like that. That's why when we enter for SQL injection, we always put a quote as username. So this middle quote will come as user and it will error out. Sorry. So it will error out. It will be like there's some wrong syntax or something like that. So that's why we always enter that. But if for some reason it does not give us a error or something, so we can just remove that. We can put admin and now we'll put that quote and we'll give space and we'll give hash. So what this hash would do is, it depends upon databases, okay, some different database they have, like you can enter this and this particular thing to comment out. So in short, how in our, codes or something, I have a PHP file over here for reference. So how there is comment right over here, there are multiple comments present, right? So in short, this thing will comment out the, sorry, this entry over here, what we are entering, we enter this particular thing, right, in our login page. That means this hash is going to comment out the rest of the thing. So first, where the SQL query was like, just get this. First, where the SQL query was something like this, okay, and it was something like this, select all from user, where you enter the username and you enter the password over here, okay, and then if that is true, then it will give you login. But if that is not true, it is not going to give you a login. Now we have changed and modified it, okay. We'll just copy this. Admin, okay. So now what we are doing is we have modified this particular request which says admin and then hash. So this was the original SQL query. This is how it should work. I should enter the right admin password and right secret admin account, something like that, some password like that. So now this, we enter this particular thing because why, there are multiple things over here, in input sanitization is not present, and whatever things you are like, you cannot enter this characters in your username. So that thing, so whitelisting approach is not done, all this kind of things, like the characters are not blocked. And the SQL queries also, probably there's no stored procedure used or something, parameterized queries used, okay. So in short, okay, don't go with those words, those are the words how to prevent SQL injection, but I'm just saying SQL injection possible. So it's not, it's, we enter this value and we just remove this particular thing entirely over here because we are commenting this thing out. So in short, this will become as this. So if it will be like select all from users where username is equal to admin. If the username is correct, give access. That's it. As simple as that. You do not have to enter any password. And it says over here, select all from user where username admin and password is this. So we just removed out this entire part because we commented that particular thing out. Okay, so we commented out the entire thing over here. Okay, so that's how it actually works, SQL injection, and that's how we got access. So even if I enter this and I do not enter the password, does not matter. But sometimes it actually matters in the client side. You have to enter both the parameters. Okay, so we come across this web page tool over here, and it says like net tool. We zero this, and it says ping, and this particular ping IP address over here. So what we'll do is we'll just take that. I'll just enter my IP address, that is 1428. I'll press execute, and let's see what happens. It says like ping, we got the data, and only one ping packet was sent over here. One ping was sent, and it got the response also in 190 milliseconds. So I think this ping is working. So let's just look at this particular ping request in our verb suite. Let's just go back to proxy and go back to, okay, this was the request, yeah. And if we check over here, there is a command already given over here. Okay, it's not only it's not hard coded in the backend code, but the command is actually mentioned over here itself, client side. So let's just go to send to repeater, and it mentions the host. So what it will do is probably just enter command in the backend, and then it will enter this host command over here. So we can change this command parameter over here probably, and try to get a remote command execution. Let's see if it works. So first thing, obviously I'm not gonna separately send the host, what do you say, the parameter over here, the host content. So I'll just remove this off on the hand as well. Okay, for some reason I'll just remove this, and I'll be giving ping C2, and I'll be pinging it twice in my system. So this is what command I'll give, and I'll just URL encoded. So I'll just press Control U. That's it. Press Control U. Okay, we'll close this. We'll start sudo TCP dump iSwitch turn 0, and I want to listen only ICMP packets. So I started a TCP dump. If you guys don't know what TCP dump is, it acts like Wireshark in my attack machine. So any connection request, something comes. So this will show up over here. Okay, if the target machine, like the CronOs machine, will send some request, it will show up. And I'm giving ICMP is because you can probably just, I just want to look at ICMP packets because ping is ICMP packets. Okay, so we have this thing present. I have this thing. Let's just do send, and we do not get anything over here for some reason. It says done over here, but we do not get any particular request and ping command. Okay, we do get it, but for some reason it did. Okay, we did get it over here. Okay, so it says NS1 CronOs HTTP. We got the ping request. Okay, so that means we have a successful command injection. Sometimes, obviously, just a small suggestion maybe, this this burp suit, that command will not be present most likely. Okay, so this thing, let's just send it to repeater. So this command thing would not be present most likely. Just consider this thing is not present. So you just have the host name. So obviously what you will do is another thing, you can just go to the net tool. We have this thing, right? We can end this particular command wherever you're writing. Probably it will, in the back end, it will do the same thing like this. I know it's a bit confusing, but just consider back end, the code is already written that, hey, once you get that IP address, take this IP address and paste it over here in the back end. Okay, not on the client side. So if this thing was not present, in short, we could probably just take this and we could enter another thing over here, that is ping, and just enter who am I or something like that, and see if we get something back, because it's sending this thing back, right? Ping request. So let's just do who am I and check if we get something back. It's taking some time because, yes, let's just wait and see. So if we see successfully, we send the ping request first. Okay, one transmitted, 0 received, and then it says www data. So we can do another thing is just check out the host name, and we get CronOs. I checked it out with trace root, but we can check with this host name. So obviously we have successful remote command execution over here. We guys can play with it, but just important thing is if we did not have this, probably we'll have to give end this particular command and then give the new command that was the host name which was present over here. Okay, so in short something this. Okay, so we get CronOs. Okay, so we have successful command injection. We saw earlier that we can just enter commands over here directly. So obviously first thing we can go and check if different things are present. So I'll be using the sleep command over here. DNS, okay. So we'll just check for this sleep command, and in short it's gonna check if this particular file exists, and if it exists it will give me a response very fast, and if it does not exist, probably just check for NC first. It will go back to sleep, like it will sleep for that very long time. Okay, so we have URL encoded, send the request, we get the response immediately. So NC, I'll just put some random number over here, and we see that it will actually sleep for like 5 seconds. So this is what I use command to check that NC is present. Okay, so that means NC is present. We can check other things what are present. Now I entered an invalid value, right? NC and 23 something. So that's why it gave that delay in 5 seconds. So we got the response in 5.2 seconds. If I send this, I get it in 198. So if I enter something, like Python, not present, some tool like that, so it's gonna wait for 5 seconds. It'll be like, I don't think this tool is present. Okay, so we have Python, we have NC, so we can go and check out Pentest monkey. We can get the reverse shell over here. We can go and get the Python shell as well. So let's just take this entire thing, copy it, and go to burp suit. Remove this thing, you don't need it anymore. Obviously you have to modify it over here now, so we'll just modify the IP address itself, and 28. Don't mess up anything else. You can probably add bash over here as well, but sometimes just try it with sh first, then add bash. But I'll just add bash now because I know bash is present, I guess. Control U. Okay, so I just did Control U. I'll set up on netcat list now. Obviously I'll just close this, do not require this anymore. So nc nvlp 444, my bad, 4444. Okay, we do that. We have this thing present. Did URL encode by Control U, send it, and we get a shell over here. Okay, so we have the Python shell, and if I do who am I, we are obviously as www data, and we go back to the home directory probably, where we'll probably get our shell, sorry, your flag. So we can go to cd knowledge, probably there's a user named knowledge over here, and I'll just lsla again, and we can very well read the user flag even though the owner is knowledge, and we have this read access. We belong to this category, the others category, because we are www data, and we can very well read this file, so you guys can go and read it. Okay, so obviously now first thing I always check is sudo l or something like that, and it says no, nothing present. And another thing, uname a gives us OS information architecture, that means 64-bit is present over here. And also then later on I run a enum scan. I also do manually check for things over here, like in the base folder. If I find anything interesting, I check over here, like if I see any dates or something mismatched, so I just check out those folders. But I did not find anything over here, like if there's some backup folder over here, or so OPT has recent date is different or something like that. Okay, so what I'll do is now I'll just go and get a enum file. So I'll just try and transfer this file from my attack machine to the target machine. Just start my cd exploit, because that enum is present exploit folder. So Python 3 m http server, and we'll be giving 8000. You can give any port, so I'm starting the server over here. So I just want to transfer the enum file, so I'll be doing wget, giving the attack machine's IP address because I want the file from there, right, from my Kali machine. So 1428 port 8000, same mentioned in the Python. Okay, and then I'll be giving the file name, that is enum.sh, and being o. I'll be outputting it to dev shm directory, so you can probably just mention as enum.sh. Okay, Okay, so it's already present over there. Let's just go to dev shm. So Linenum is present, and let's just give execute permission as well. So chmod 777, just give it to all just in case. Okay, so now let's just run this Linenum file. We probably don't require this, I guess, for now. We'll just keep it aside. Okay, enum.sh, and let's just run through this entire thing. It may take quite some time, and if you don't get anything, you can give the T switch and do a thorough scan as well. But the scan obviously takes time to, hardly like few seconds. So if you see over here, we do not get anything useful like just the uname probably, and kernel information and the host name, the group which we belong to. It says previously some users are logged into the system, so it says something like this: knowledge user logged in. So probably you would think it's like a rabbit hole, right? Probably we have to escalate our privilege to knowledge first, then you can get root, something like that. So I also thought the same thing first initially, that probably you have to escalate to knowledge, but that was not the way, and could not find anything as well. So like it looks like we have okay, and so knowledge in short is an admin user itself, I guess. I'm not sure. Okay, okay. So we just scroll through it, and obviously you find a lot of information, can go through it manually. Obviously when I did it first time, I was going through it like bit by bit, but now if you see in cron tab, we have multiple cron jobs present, right? These are the default ones which are always present, and there is something interesting over here. Okay, so if you look at the host name, it's CronOS, so probably most like a cron job is present. Cron job are basically a batch jobs which are scheduled like every time. So if you see over here, it's like asterisk, 5 asterisks are present. So if you don't know how to read this, so you can probably just go and check out cron jobs time, I guess. Yeah, so you can go to this cron tab guru, and whatever is present over there, you can enter that. Okay, so we have 5 asterisks present, right? Okay, why is this not coming? Okay, my bad. I think it should be present this way itself. Remove this thing. Yeah, I had to give the space actually. My bad. Okay, so if we enter 5 asterisks, so it says at every minute. So that means there is some cron job running every minute. Okay, this part is clear. So there is a cron job which is running every minute, and it is running as root, and it is doing PHP, and it is running a artisan file over here, and it says like some schedule command, and it's doing null, and then obviously it's putting the errors over here like dev null. So let's just copy it so that we can look at it later. Copy selection. So we have this thing present. So obviously first thing we got the root, we get this thing that every minute it is running. Let's just go to this artisan file now. Okay, so let's just check what permissions we have to that file. So we can do find artist. Okay, we don't have to do find. Let's just go back to root directory. Let's just see where the file is present. What does, so let's just copy this entire thing, copy it, and cd, paste it to lsla, and we have that artisan file. Okay, so we have this file over here, and it looks like we are the owner itself, so that's like great, right? So obviously first thing I saw, it was like this read write execute, read, some permission was present. So let's just copy this as well just in case. So we have this permission present. So obviously we are the owner, we can do anything we want. So obviously what I did was, first thing, I actually uploaded a PHP shell. Okay, so this exploit over there, and I did run it. So I obviously changed this. Yeah, only in this PHP shell you can get it on. Let's just search for PHP reverse shell, and I think Pentest monkey, yeah, Pentest monkey one. So you can go and download it. So I already have it on my system. So once you get it, just enter and modify this IP address, that is 28. Change the port to 555 now, because we already have this particular um 444 present, right? So we'll just have that 444. This thing is running. This is www data user. Okay, we'll do lsla, we'll ch. Okay, it's already present. Rewrite. Okay, so now we'll transfer that php file to this file over here. So what we'll do is wget, and we'll be entering this 10.10. Okay, before that, I just want to take a backup of this artisan file, because I'm going to show another way how you can actually execute this. I'll just tell you all why, but first I'll just take a backup of this artisan file over here. Okay, so let's just do cat artisan. So obviously first thing, you can just check out the contents of the file as well, but I saw read write permissions, so obviously I was like, why not override the file entirely. So let's just copy paste it. So this is how I do it manually. You can probably just do base 64, something like that as well. Okay, so we have this file. We'll just save it on a root folder probably. Create document, artisan, and paste this over here. Okay, there is some auto load PHP. There's nothing useful. I obviously went through it to see if there's something useful over here, but we can just take this. And obviously there is this user bin environment PHP present on the artisan file. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here just in case I want to be safe. Okay, because it was present in the artisan file, so I'll just paste it over here. Okay, I think I need to modify the IP again. 28 5555. Okay, so we have this file present, artisan backup file is present. I'll tell you all why I require it. So let's just get the file, the PHP file 10.14.28 8000, and then later on I'll get the file that is PHP reverse. So let's just rename it to something easier. So rev was okay, reverse. Okay, take this, paste it over here, and output it to probably dev shm directory reverse.php. So we got the file. Let's go to dev shm. Oh, what? Okay, so let's just cat the file. Obviously, that thing content is present. It will be a huge list. It's a long file, so what we'll do is, first thing, we'll just try and overwrite things to that artisan file, right? So we'll just create a listener over here. So we'll just nc nvlp 5555. Okay, we created a listener, because now what we'll do is we'll overwrite the file, because if you see this artisan file, we have read write permissions and everything, because obviously we are the owner, the group also the same thing, so we have all the permissions over here. So that's why we are lucky we can do it the easy way, but the other way as well, I'll show it to you. And so let's just cat that dev shm reverse php file and copy all those contents whatever is catted to this artisan file. In short, it is overwriting the entire thing. So we do that, and now if we check the artisan file which is present in this Laravel directory, Laravel, yeah, so we have that php payload present over here. Okay, so we have this particular payload with port 555 present. So now we have to obviously wait, because this every minute the job is running. So let's just check what time it is. So in 10 seconds we'll get a payload probably as root. Yeah, so we already got a payload over here. If we do who am I, we are in the system as root. We go to cd root lsla. We have the root file. Obviously we can go and read it. So we have the shell access of root. So this was the very easiest way, and this is what I actually did it. I'm not gonna deny. So another thing what you can do is, if we saw in that cron job, it was like PHP Laravel artisan, and it said schedule run. Okay, so if you look at this, in short, what I want trying to tell you all is, if we did not have, we were not the owner, root was the owner. Okay, because just another scenario, root was the owner, root was the owner for data and plus this. So we did not have write permissions. We had only read and execute maybe. We did not have write permission. Okay, so if this, just consider it this way, I'll just copy it, new line. So if root was the owner, and over here also root was the owner, So we do not have write permissions, right? We can just execute and read it. That's it. So now what we would do is, obviously we cannot modify and override this artisan file. So here it says something like schedule run. So probably some function it's running, it says schedule run. So what I did was, you can just go and check Laravel artisan schedule run. Just as simple as our Google. So whatever you find on that particular process or something now, you should always try and Google that or just check out things if you find something. And it says like task scheduling, Laravel PHP framework, something like that. Okay, task. So if you see this Laravel website, I think it was CronOs or something. I think yeah. So if you see it says starting the scheduler, something like that. That's how you have to start it. I think that job is which is running every minute. In short, this particular thing. Then if we scroll down, if it says defining schedules, you may define all your scheduled tasks in the schedule method of the app console kernel class. So class it's mentioned, right? So obviously there'll be some file which is like kernel file inside like app console kernel. So what we'll do is let's just manually enumerate the folder. If we do LSLA over here, we have an application folder, right? So let's just go over the cd app LSLA. Then after that it says console and then some kernel file. So let's just go to console. We have console over here, right? So let's just go there. You cd console lsla. So we have this kernel php file present over here. So if we do cat kernel php, so there are multiple functions over here. So I'll just try to quickly copy paste it. Copy paste and go to loot, create document, kernel.php. Okay, so in short, it says something like, let's just do one thing. First, try and revert back that artisan file, right? So let's just do that. This artisan file over here, the contents of it. Let's just try and paste it back. Let's cat artisan. If you do that, then it's obviously going to be the PHP page, web page which we had overwritten. So let's just take this artisan file, put it over here. I think we have to chmod it as well. Chmod 777 artisan LSLA. Okay, artisan is good to go. We'll use wget. I know this is all a bit confusing, multiple terminals, but this is the target machine and these are my attack machines. Okay, 1428 and 8000, and we'll be giving the port that is sorry, not the port, the file name, that is artisan. And I don't want to save it directly over here. I don't want to directly overwrite it, but I want to just copy and paste those contents. I can directly overwrite it as well. So then we'll probably give the permissions which were present over here. Okay, so I'll just overwrite it in short. Artisan. I think it will be saved as artisan 1. Okay, so if you don't give the O switch to overwrite, it will save it as artisan 1. So okay, let it save it as artisan 1. What we'll do is we'll just cat artisan.1 and then we'll save the content to artisan. Okay, if we do artisan now, cat artisan, and we obviously got that original content which was present. We do not require artisan 1 anymore, so let's just remove it, artisan.1. Okay. Yeah, so we remove that. We have this artisan file present. Now it says, now let's look at that kernel page. It says that if you want to actually schedule some task, you have to add it in your schedule method. So the schedule method is like protected function schedule, something like this. Okay, so if we say scheduling artisan commands, quit jobs, and then shell commands, quit jobs. Okay, and then it says like schedule frequency over here. And another thing what to look is for is the scheduling shell commands. So probably you can enter the exec switch and we can enter shell commands over here. So what we'll do is we'll take this thing, copy it, and try to add it over here in this schedule function, right? Because we saw over here the first one, we have to enter some schedule function over here inside this protected function schedule. So I just selected this because I'm not interested in this and this over here. I'm interested in this shell commands. So take that, close this, and paste it over here. paste it, schedule exex this. I don't want this thing, obviously you have to modify this thing. So what you can do over here is you can probably just enter, or you can give a Python command. Okay, so you can give Python, since Python is present, and we can run a Python file which will be probably called as reverse py. Okay, so we'll run Python and reverse py, and we don't want it daily. So another thing is this, because this will take 24 hours to run otherwise, so we want it every minute. So let's just copy and paste this thing and paste it. Hope we don't miss anything. Yeah, so every minute over here we'll just probably just enter, to be safe, just enter this thing only every minute, because here I think there are two dashes, I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so we have every minute, so that means every minute this particular schedule command, when once it runs, so this thing also will run, schedule exec. So Python reverse py. So we obviously I do not have this file, so I'll just create it. So obviously I just have it again over here, create it as in transfer it to the attack machine, sorry, target machine. So we'll enter 555 only, we'll give bash, we'll give this simple Python reverse shell. You can go find it on Google as well. Just go and actually the same pentest one, but I have just modified it and formatted it so that we can enter in a file. So it's the same, this command. I just remove py, remove this quotes over here, that's it. So this thing is present, and obviously I give the environment as well, because sometimes there are different environments. So based on the attack machine's environment, because I'll do which Python and I'll get this environment, right? So take that and paste it over here with obviously this things present over here. Okay, so that's it. And reverse py, so we have execute permission. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just take that cd, we'll do wget over here, we can do wget over here, or we can do it to dev shm folder in case we do not have read permissions. But for now I'll just do wget over here itself, sorry. So 10.14.28, and now this, and reverse py. So it's present over here, reverse py. Okay, so that's it. So it's present over here, and if we do pwd, so we are in this particular Laravel folder, right? So let's just copy that. Why is because if we do this Python reverse, it's gonna check in this kernel PHP folder that was inside that app console kernel. So I just want to give the direct entry path as well. So we var www Laravel, and then over here. So this reverse py file is present. Another thing is, since we just got the reverse py file, so we'll just give chmod permission. We'll just give 777 reverse py just in case. Okay, so we'll just have that. We'll go down, we'll create this. Now the next thing is we have to obviously take this kernel PHP file which we have modified over here and paste it or overwrite it to that other kernel file. So let's just go to app cd console lsla. Yeah, this PHP kernel file, right? So we have to get it as well. So let's get it over here. I think lsla. Okay, chmod kernel.php. Okay, fine. So now we'll use wget again, and we'll obviously just overwrite the file. So 28. Okay, so kernel.php. If you do not give the O switch, then it will obviously create that php.1 like another file. But if we give this and kernel.php, it's not gonna give that override file. Okay, so it got saved over here. If we check out the date, it's like 25, so I have to wait for 30 seconds. In short, what I did was I took that okay, this thing also got deleted. I took that kernel file, okay, kernel file, I modified it and I transferred it again to that CronOs. So this is the malicious kernel file now, which is having a command which says that run that Python reverse py. Okay, and we obviously transferred another Python file, that is the reverse py reverse py file as seen in that artisan directory, the same directory as artisan. So if you do date, okay, so we just passed that, but somehow the file did not execute. So obviously we'll just go and check what was wrong. So let's just do cat kernel.php. Okay, we have this var variable reverse py every minute python. Okay, so this thing is fine. So let's just go back. SLA. So we have this reverse py file present over here as well. So cat reverse dot py, and this thing is actually present. Oh, but if you see, I have entered port the IP address as 20 over here. So that is my bad, and obviously I'll just try and fix that now. So this is what happens. Sometimes you miss out things. This port, IP is 28. Okay. And now use wget again, that is 10.10.14.28 and give me 8000 and reverse dot py, and I want to output it to reverse dot py because I want to overwrite the file. Done. Okay, let's check the date. 36, so wait another 24 seconds. Okay, so now again we took the reverse py. So first thing is, when that CronOs will start that scheduling job, right? This particular thing, artisan schedule run, it's running by root, so it's doing the schedule run, right? And we came across that web page over there. Okay, and we saw that if you modify this kernel file and we give a execution to this reverse py, so probably this reverse py will give us a reverse shell over here. So let's just check. Okay, and again it did not come for some reason. Let's just check reverse py. Okay, so this thing is present. I'm not sure why it did not come now. It should have come actually. I'm not aware. Okay, probably because of the space. I'm not sure. Let's just check. Just copy paste it again, the same command. Let's just check now. Okay, so we see that we get our reverse shell. Obviously, first thing you can go and try to create a file or something and see who's the owner or something like that, right? So I did not do that because you can just directly go and execute. But obviously, first thing to try is try to create some file, and we have a root shell over here, and the system has root. Okay, so this is how the box is done, and I think it's easy box, but that SQL injection was a bit tricky, so that's where the authentication bypass thing came in picture. Okay, so if you guys like this video, give a thumbs up and do subscribe for more upcoming videos. And if you all have any queries or anything regarding this box, you all can drop it in the comments. And if you all have anything useful tips for me as well, so I could do things differently, you all can mention that as well. Okay, thanks a lot.